Absolutely. Oh, much more. We had a very full religious education program. It was there all the time, and now there's like no young families or anything, you know. That you're not a part of.
I'm thinking just by the alternate.
Right.
So close in. Up there, that's strange.
Because if you were sitting there, no one would ever see you. I've never been up there.
Let me tuck it away. Oh, it smells so good.
Good morning. My name is Victoria Leonard, and I am your lay worship leader today. I warmly welcome you to the First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church in Bridgewater. I've been a member here for less than a year. I began attending in January, and I signed the book in April. I serve in the choir, in the Tone Chimes choir, and on the worship committee. What I love about First Parish is that there's room here at the table for everyone. Your gifts, your experience, and your knowledge are what makes this community what it is. When I come here every week, I learn something new, whether it's something academic or if it's something about one of our fellow parishioners, and I think that's wonderful. I would like to welcome our new pastor, Rosemary Dodd, to say a few words about herself before we start the service.
Good morning, everyone. I realized I forgot to introduce myself last week, so I'd like to say a warm hello to everyone here. My name is Rosemary, and I am so happy to be serving here at First Parish Bridgewater as your 3/4-time contract minister. My contract started midway through August, and it goes for a full year. This is my first ministry role out of divinity school. I graduated from Harvard Divinity School in 2023, and I served a year-long congregational internship at the Unitarian Universalist Society of Sacramento. I'm a lifelong Unitarian Universalist. I grew up with the Unitarian Universalists of Petaluma, which is a church about 300 years younger than this one, founded in 2002. I love my faith, but I love many other things in this life as well. I love my dog, Stella. She is a standard poodle who comes to work with me some days. I love my friends who live in the Boston area, which is one of the things that drew me back to working in New England. I love baking, cooking, the fall leaves, October, the best month, and I love crocheting. So I'm always happy to talk about yarn. And I love to sing in community, and it's so good to be serving here and getting to know this lovely community. And that's all I have to say for now. Please find me in coffee hour after the service. Today it's soup hour, so please stay for lunch that our children have made. And let's continue to get to know each other.
Before we begin our time of worship today, we do have a few announcements. Thank you for bearing with me. The first one is a message from Debbie. We are looking for volunteers to host coffee hour. Please see Debbie or come grab the clipboard from up front. We, I think, are good for this week and next week, but we do need some volunteers for September 29th. If anyone is available, you can sign up on the clipboard here or in the upper parish hall after the service. Also, pause while I put this down and switch. We have a lost and found. I have some cups over here. If you recognize these and they belong to you, please feel free to grab them. There is also a lost and found bin in the back of the church where you enter that has glasses, eyeglasses, and other assorted things. If you are looking for something and you think you might have left it here, take a peek. It might be in there. So these are up here also. From the Facilities Committee, we are having the outside lock, the one under the parish office, replaced tomorrow. If you currently have a key to the building, see Denise during coffee hour and she will give you a new key. You do not have to turn in your old key. Keys will also be available this week in the parish office. Come in and see Paul Monday through Thursday from 8 to 12 to grab your new key. From the Worship Committee, between the sanctuary and the upper parish hall over here in the hallway, there is a bookcase crammed with books. One section contains books about Unitarian Universalism. If you are new and want to know more about this faith, or even if you've been here for a long time and want to learn more, these books are available for your use. You don't have to tell anyone what you took, no signing in necessary, no late fees, just take what you want and enjoy and learn. We're tired of seeing the dust on top of the books. We'd rather have someone be reading them. All right. First Parish Bridgewater is a welcoming congregation. We proudly fly the rainbow flag to symbolize our welcome to people of all identities, ages, and backgrounds. If you are new to First Parish, we hope you enjoy your experience here today, and we encourage you to fill out the guest book on the table at the rear of the church, making sure to include your email address to receive church updates. For newcomers joining online, please see the sign-up link posted in the chat. We invite all who are here in person to join us after service for a time of coffee, soup, and fellowship in the upper parish hall to my left. This service is being hosted via Zoom and recorded for Bridgewater Cable TV. I would like to just take a moment to invite everyone to wave to our friends who are on Zoom. If you want to turn around and just give them a wave. There are many folks who do join us on Zoom every week, and they are welcome here, and we are so excited to have them here participating in our service today. So, hi friends. However, the camera is turned off to protect your privacy during the sharing of joys and sorrows. In the event of an emergency or evacuation drill, please leave the building through the main sanctuary doors, or should you need a ramp, through the school street entrance to my left. You are welcome here. Thank you for joining us. Your presence makes a difference. We will now begin our time of worship with the prelude. Aria, would you like to come help light the chalice? Looks like we've already gotten started, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to hand this to you, and then you can... Oh, did you? Light... Perfect. All right, as we light the chalice, we can recite our chalice lighting words over here on my left.
Good job.
We light our chalice to mark this sacred hour as we gather in this beautiful historic sanctuary, both in body and spirit. We are
Many generations. Okay, just light it on this one.
Let us join our hearts and
Okay, now blow out the candle. Hold it upright. Oh, now blow it out. Good job.
thank you. Good job, thank you. Please rise in body or spirit and let us join our voices for the affirmation of our covenant.
Love is the spirit of this church, and His purpose is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our opening words today are from Max Coots, and they're called A Harvest of People. Let us give thanks for a bounty of people, for generous friends with smiles as bright as their blossoms, for feisty friends as tart as apples, for continuous friends who, like scallions and cucumbers, keep reminding us that we've had them. For crotchety friends, as sour as rhubarb and as indestructible. For handsome friends who are as gorgeous as eggplants and as elegant as a row of corn. And the others, as plain as potatoes, and as good for you. For friends as unpretentious as cabbages, as subtle as summer squash, as persistent as parsley, as endless as zucchini, and who, like parsnips, can be counted on to see you through the winter. For old friends, nodding like sunflowers in the evening time. For young friends who wind like tendrils around us and hold us. We give thanks for friends now gone, like gardens past that have been harvested, but who fed us in their times that we might live. Let's join in our opening hymn, number 6-9, Give Thanks.
Thank
Now is the time in our service for our sharing of joys and sorrows, those matters of great personal significance that touch us, our families, and our loved ones. If you have a joy...
After the time for all ages.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I was so ready.
You're so ready.
I was so ready. I'm very enthusiastic.
Hold on to them. Get ready with those. But first... We got it. Okay, but first, I would like to invite our villagers forward because we have a time for all ages today. So we have a cast of characters. We have some villagers amongst us. Yes, here's one. Could you step right up, please? Thank you. And I believe Jenny is a villager today. And I believe Desiree might be our third villager. Okay, we have 3 villagers. Excellent. So this is a retelling of a European folktale called Stone Soup. You might have heard a version of this story before, but I invite you to hear it today as if for the first time. So, once upon a time, in a time not so very different from ours, in a place not different either, there was a great famine. The people in one small village, they did not have enough to eat, and they were hungry. They didn't have enough to store away for the winter. They were afraid their families would go hungry, and they even hid their food from their friends and neighbors. It was a dark and uncertain time in which the future seemed bleak. One day, a young traveler came to the village. She asked all around for something to eat since she was hungry from being out on the road all day. No. She asked many people, and they all said, "There is not a bite to eat in the whole country," they told her. "You better keep moving on." And then she said, "Oh, I have everything I need." She said, "I know. But so sad, since you don't have anything to eat, I will make some of my famous stone soup," with her stone, "to share with all of you." She held up the stone aloft to show them all. "Stone soup?" said the villagers. They did not believe her. They had never heard of this delicacy. It must be from whichever place the traveler had come from. First, she pulled a big pot from her wagon. She filled it with water and put it on a stool on top of a large fire. Whoa. In the center of the village square. Then now, hearing about this stone soup, most of the villagers were surrounding the traveler and her cooking pot. They looked in. All they saw was a soup, but the traveler sniffed the soup and licked her lips, and she said, "Yum, I do like a tasty stone soup. It smells amazing." But of course, stone soup with cabbage is even better. Does anyone here today have any cabbage or other crunchy green vegetables? Oh my goodness. Let's get this cabbage. Oh, what else do we have? And the villagers went out to collect the vegetables. What else? So cabbage, crunchy green vegetables. Green, we're going for green vegetables. Wow. Oh, suddenly the villagers were giving vegetables. "Fantastic," cried the traveler. She added this vegetable to the pot. Wow, amazing. You know, once I had stone soup with cabbage and beans, and it was just to die for. What about beans? Do we have anything like that? Oh, there they are, beans, rice, that kind of thing. Ooh, let's add them into our soup. Another villager found beans in her house. She ran back to her house, and we added them to the pot. Soon, villagers were offering bits of vegetables from their own gardens. There were potatoes. There was celery. There were many, many carrots, I believe. A lot of carrots. Herbs. What else? Call them out. Parsnips. Red peppers. What else? Onions. What else did we get? Garlic. Ooh, what generous villagers in the midst of such harsh circumstances. Soon the big pot was bubbling, overflowing, steaming, and it smelled delicious. After a while, it seemed that everyone from the town had brought one small thing that they could contribute. When the soup was ready, there was an abundant amount, and the traveler spooned out a bowl for each person to try. And everyone in the village ate a bowl of soup. It was delicious, and they were all full. This must be a magic stone, the villagers cried. And they offered the traveler money and other treasures in exchange, but she refused to sell the stone. We need it, the villagers said. It is the silver bullet, the thing that saved us from our hunger and isolation. But the traveler still would not give up the stone. And that next day, the traveler left, and she traveled on her way with her stone. Wow. After she left, the villagers moped around for a while. Where was this magical stone, the solution to all their problems and hunger? After a while, they came to see that during this hard time of famine, they would need to lend each other a hand, so that they started coming together to make soup regularly and more often. At first, they did not think it tasted quite as good without the stone. But after some time, they found it felt good to share their resources with each other. They realized they had more that way. So even if they never had stone soup again, they found in each other companions to make it through, and a bowl of soup to warm their hands. The end. Let's send our villagers and our traveler out to the kitchen with some fingers in the air to go forth and make us our stone soup, which we will all enjoy during coffee hour. Yeah, everybody can help. Aria helps, Gail helps, yeah. Awesome. Very strong cast of players. Okay, bye. See you at coffee hour. Thank you, chefs. This is our
Make sure you guys get the doors open and everything.
wow. There they go. Bye.
Okay, now we have reached the time in our service for the sharing of joys and sorrows. Those matters of great personal significance that touch us, our families, and our loved ones. If you have a joy or a sorrow, please come to the front to light a candle. If you would like to speak, please keep your sharing brief at this time so that our ritual can move smoothly. You may also choose to light your candle in silence. Online participants are invited to share by typing your joys and sorrows in the chat. A volunteer in the sanctuary will come up to the front and read them aloud.
Each week we share our joys and sorrows because joys shared are brighter and sorrows shared are a little bit less heavy on us. This week we hold new beginnings, new lives starting. We hold sudden endings too soon. And we hold deep joy in celebration of birthdays, of long lives lived well. We hold the joy of the return of old friends. And we also make space for whatever it is that you brought, each of you, into this community that's sitting on your heart today. So I invite you now to settle into a time of prayer, meditation, contemplation, breathing, whatever is good for you. And notice what you're feeling. What is it that you want this community to help you hold right now? Take a couple breaths and release a little bit of that into the care of this community. Spirit of life, force of divine love that moves in and among us, be with us here today as we gather in worship, in laughter, in joy, in sorrow, in silliness, in hope. Be with us, whatever we are carrying, whatever we need to put down. Help us to find hope. Help us to believe in liberation, in love. Help us to come home to ourselves and to our people and to our bodies. Amen. Let's sing number 15, The Lone Wild Bird. You can stay seated.
Thank you.
Each Sunday, we collect an offering to support the ministries of the church and the mission of a community organization that shares our faith values. This month, contributions to our collection plate are being shared with School on Wheels. You may also donate online through the First Parish Church website. This morning's offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Today's reading comes an excerpt from Braiding Sweetgrass, which is I've pulled so many readings from this book. It's by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and it's called Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. This reading is titled A Map of Balance and Harmony. At the height of summer, when the days are long and bright, and the thunderers come to soak the ground, the lessons of reciprocity are written clearly in a Three Sisters garden. Together, their stems inscribe what looks to me like a blueprint for the world, a map of balance and harmony. The corn stands 8 feet tall. Rippling green ribbons of leaf curl away from the stem in each direction to catch the sun. No leaf sits directly over the next, so that each can gather light without shading the others. The bean twines around the cornstalk, weaving itself between the leaves of corn, never interfering with their work. In the spaces where corn leaves are not, buds appear on the vining bean and expand into outstretched leaves and clusters of fragrant flowers. The bean leaves droop and are held close to the stem of the corn. Spread around the feet of the corn and beans is a carpet of big, broad squash leaves that intercept the light that falls among the pillars of corn. Their layered spacing uses the light, a gift from the sun, efficiently, with no waste. The organic symmetry of forms belongs together. The placement of every leaf, the harmony of shapes speak their message. Respect one another. Support one another. Bring your gift to the world and receive the gifts of others, and there will be enough for all. This is a sermon about my experiences gardening. It was the spring of 2021. It was right around this time. It was about March, April, May. I was exhausted. I had just finished my first year of graduate school online, and the endless hours of speaking to my classmates only through a screen had just worn me down. In my past life, I thought I would have done something really productive and enlightening in the upcoming summer. It was May, and I was stumped. I had no plans. It was sudden. A flurry of emails, one quick Zoom call. It was decided. I would be the, serious name, garden goddess for that summer at the 12 in-ground garden beds behind the dean's house at Harvard Divinity School. With the enthusiastic endorsement of the garden's longtime keeper, Leslie, a UU, I accepted the role as something to do which might bring some satisfaction for the summer ahead. The thing is, I am just not a talented or even a particularly dedicated gardener. I am forgetful about watering plants. I don't even like a number of vegetables. I don't really enjoy getting my hands dirty. My arms, not that strong. I'm not that outdoorsy. Like most hobbies, however, enjoyment doesn't come solely from being predisposed to something, but from, I guess, the lessons learned along the way. And so, over the course of the summer, I came to enjoy rooting through these garden beds for rocks, pulling out impressive branches that had fallen from the large trees above, and hacking away at the invasive plants which had been allowed to take over while students and staff alike were away from campus. I puzzled over the decades-old vegetable seeds in the ramshackle garden shed. I built complex and ultimately unsuccessful rabbit-proofing schemes around the small seedlings that reluctantly grew under my care. I watched a pack of baby turkeys wander about the plots, and I hid shamelessly from the larger adult male turkeys who looped their necks around one another and yelled at any passerby. At the end of the summer, I found myself immersed in the routines of the garden, like a real gardener. But I was still unable to answer the frequent and well-intentioned question of, so, what are you harvesting? The truth was, we were not really harvesting much of anything at all. Some herbs, maybe. Some Swiss chard, which had been given more than double its harvest in 50 days promise. The soil quality was really poor. The plants did not get enough sun or enough time in the short New England growing season, and it rained 12 inches in July alone. Thunderstorm after thunderstorm rolled right through. Our irrigation system was a menace. I think we drowned some herbs one morning when it turned into a fire hose of uncontrollable volume. The rabbits outwitted me entirely. They ate all the carrot tops, all the lettuces. At the time, I felt pretty sheepish. Could it be that I spent the whole summer mucking around in the garden, wasting my time, not growing anything at all? Was that really the case? So I took a step back to make sense of it, Because the thing was, I felt satisfied about the summer. I had had a good time, despite such a literally fruitless venture. And I was puzzled as to why for a while. Could it be that I had done the impossible, avoided responsibility and productivity entirely? Was this allowable? Soon, though, an alternate explanation dawned on me. It turns out that instead of growing plants, we were growing community. Let me explain. Throughout the summer, the school's maintenance staff stopped by to lend their ladders to the endless trellis vine control effort. We became friends. I also became friends with the residents of the neighboring apartments, and I spent afternoons painting garden stakes with the children who were infinitely curious and enthusiastic about what we might be growing. They wanted strawberries and flowers. I had gotten a little stronger from shoveling 3 cubic yards of compost into the beds and diligently mixing it in. New friends who I had previously met only on Zoom had stopped by to enjoy the shade and the outside space. It was a safe gathering place. And when thankfully a new group of students took over care of the garden in the fall, the soil was fertile, and the shed was well organized for their efforts. We harvested plenty, if you look at it in those terms. Maybe we had made soup from a stone, grown community from rocks and weeds. My Unitarian Universalist communities have taught me to look at the bounty of our connections rather than the quantifiable numerical successes of what we grow. As a middle schooler, I too cooked a lot at church. I remember making only somewhat edible pancakes for a congregational breakfast. It was a fundraiser. People paid us for them. Thank you. We giggled in the church kitchen, and we decided to make one giant vegan pancake rather than a few individuals. We had regrettably put butter in the pan, and so we made a monstrosity. Inedible on the vegan front, undercooked, kind of malformed, and there were no vegans at the breakfast. So we youth split it amongst ourselves, eating happily with our hands after we had served the rest of the congregation. And we felt really satisfied, both in our connections and in our bodies. These UU communities are the spaces where I learned to show up with my imperfections and my boldness. I remember being 15, sharing my credo, or my statement of personal belief, that I had written following my participation in a UU coming-of-age program. I think I said something about how it is our communities which give meaning to our lives, not because of what we bring to them, if we have beans to contribute to the soup that day or not, but because of what we can make together when transformed. Not that articulately. That was the same day when I became a member of my home congregation. It was an easy and natural commitment that felt like a continuation of the encouragement and support I had always received. I'd been nourished to be my full self from the start, from an enthusiastic kid to an adult who has been believed into being the person I am today. Religious education in my congregation was small. We were a small community. It was lay-led for the most part, yet it was grounded in a deep belief that each child has fundamental knowledge about ourselves and the world. Through this Unitarian Universalist theology of education, I knew that I was always invited to the table. I knew that whatever ideas, dreams, and hopes I had to contribute, they mattered to my community. And I knew that church was my place as a kid, as much as it was a place for adults. Today, I am so grateful for the religious educators, volunteers, and congregants who instilled this deep theology of belonging in me. But let's catch up with me in 2021, after that summer of graduate school and the garden. So the summer, it fell away, the school year progressed, and I took little notice of the garden as it fell under blankets of snow. And it was an utter surprise when the garden remembered me. The following May, 9 months after I had spent time with the garden, my phone pinged, and I looked down to find an email entitled, Beats. Beats. It was from Leslie, the garden keeper who had hired me the previous summer. She's an administrator at the school. Curious, I opened the email. The text read as follows. You will not believe it, but the beet seeds you planted last summer, they produced. Today, we began putting greens in the garden, and when digging in the soil, found these. Do you believe it? 7 exclamation points followed. Attached were 3 pictures of dirt-covered, freshly harvested beets. 8 of them. They had been in the garden bed all fall, winter, and spring, growing, despite my deep belief to the contrary. And so, if you would like to, you can take a moment now to think about what seeds you are planting, we are planting here in this community, whose harvest might take a little while. Last week at our water communion service, we each set an intention for the church year ahead. If you want to, you can give that intention a little light or water right now. Or you can listen to these questions. What are you crafting? Inefficiently as you might, so that you can find space for renewal, for connection. In the meantime, before your hopes bear fruit, please know that showing up as you are right now contributes to the work of building a community of real connection and world-changing love. Even those practices which are slow and unremarkable have within them the potential to make a huge impact. While we can all imagine more bounty in our communities in years to come, which we often quantify as bigger programs, more impact, larger goals, I want us to take the chance right now to look around at where we are today. Really, just take a look around. I always mean that literally. Look around. Nobody gets this view that I do, and it's the best one. These are your neighbors, your community of faith, each of you supporting and being supported. This is our bounty, gathered each week from our lives into this beloved, nourishing community. And we'll prove it. We'll join together after the service to enjoy some soup. Amen, and blessed be.
I would like to welcome everyone to join together in singing our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able.
Will
would you try something with me? Let's reach out to one another. Just extend our hands. You don't have to physically connect, but if you'd like to, that's great. I think that's great. As we reach out to one another, go forth in love. Go forth and be blessed as you are already a blessing exactly as you are. Amen.
The time has come for us to extinguish our chalice. Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our time of service has ended, but our time of fellowship has begun. Let's eat.
one book between has been in place for like 20 years. Lives the book this year. Thank you.
Well, no, we share it. Yeah, you don't have to. Right.